Hello, everybody. I am Jose Betancourt, and you are listening to Living with TBI. So, I want to talk about a dream that I had. And big shout out to my counselor, aka psychiatrist, who, when I was telling her about this dream, she recommended that I talk about it on the podcast because I was joking around stating that, not stating, but I told her that I would write a short story. Now, that's a big joke because right now, writing and reading a lot of text is really difficult. But she told me talk about it on the podcast, so here I go. So I'm an elevator technician, and in the elevator trade, for I'd say 95% of what we do in the elevator trade requires that two people work together or more. There are people who do work alone. They are called maintenance men, and they go around just cleaning up motor rooms, elevator pits, the top of the elevators, stuff like that. Some people will actually have a partner, but 95% of the time, in the elevator trade, there are two people. One is the mechanic in charge, the other is an apprentice. Some people call them helpers, so they call them helpers slash apprentice. And so in my dream, I was an apprentice to, well, maybe I was the apprentice or maybe I was the mechanic, and I'll get to that in a second. But in my dream, I was working with myself. So there were two versions of me in this dream, and I was working with myself. Now, whether the version of myself in the dream was the mechanic or the apprentice, I don't know. So there wasn't any dialogue between the two of us. I was me being me, not the version of me in the dream. I was talking. I don't remember what I was saying. I did wake up laughing at the dream. So when I told my counselor, she asked me to analyze it as to what I thought the dream was about. And I told her, I said, maybe it was a version of me from the past before my injury that was teaching me how to move on and take what I know about elevators and, electricity and carpentry and all that, and take those skills and apply them differently because I'm going to have to. Now, there's a chance that I may not work in elevators again. Right now, they don't recommend that they don't recommend that I go back into elevators. It's too risky. My balance is still off, my photophobia, my memory loss, headaches on the side of my face. There are still a lot of things that I'm going through. So, as we were talking about the dream, I asked her, what if I was teaching my old self, who was in the dream, how to live with our new limitations, how to adjust to a new life filled with new challenges, new cognitive challenges, challenges with balance, challenges where our short-term memory is compromised and I have to find new ways how to remember things as quickly as possible so that I can function in the workforce. If I can. Right now, I'm still not working. I'm still getting workers' compensation. And so she found that really interesting. And she goes, you know what? That is progress. The fact that you're able to twist it and analyze it and change the dream. She goes, I can totally see where one of you guys was teaching the other how to live with what you are currently going through and your TBI. So I joked around saying I would write a short story. And she's like, no, talk about it in the podcast. And she goes, why would you make it a short story? I said, well, just the fact that I am someone with a traumatic brain injury, and maybe I'm not the only one who has had this type of dream where you are dreaming with your old self and the new you and the old you are having a discussion as to how you're going to move forward with your life and whether one should let go of the other. Meaning, should I try to let go of my old habits? Should I give up on trying to live the way I used to, where I can handle multiple tasks without blinking, without thinking twice? I used to remember stuff as people were talking to me and I was doing something else. Now I really need to concentrate. I have to write it down in order to remember things. There are times I will volunteer at home to go pick up some food for us, for my wife and my son. And I'll tell, she'll tell me what they want, but I'll tell her, text it to me too, because I'm not going to remember. But the fact that she's telling me it still helps out. So maybe there was a conflict in my dream between the me going forward and the me in the past. And I had the idea of having some type of dialogue between the two versions. And not just me in particular, but anyone who's had a similar dream where something traumatic and life-changing has happened, and now you're trying to live with new challenges that you were not prepared for. I never once thought that going out in a sunny day would be an extreme challenge. As a photographer, because I do it on the side, as a photographer, I live for, and there's a figure of speech, but I love the fact that there are sunny days with harsh shadows. As a photographer, you look for that. I love to shoot black and white photos, and when there's really bright sunlight and really dark, harsh shadows, that's my cup of tea. I can't really enjoy that anymore unless I have my sunglasses on. And that really is a hindrance in my creative process when taking photographs. So I have to learn how to adjust. I have to learn to work around it and continue the hobby I love, which is photography. Working as an elevator technician again, a mechanic. How do I do it? How do I work around my new limitations? Will I ever regain my balance? Will I be able to remember the finer details? Because elevators is a risky business. As an elevator technician, every time you touch an elevator to work on it, you are at risk of either getting electrocuted, getting crushed, or falling from a high distance. So you need to be 1,000% ready at all times. Forget about 100%. You need to be 1,000% ready whenever you step foot on an elevator to work on it. So it's a high risk job. And am I capable of doing it? And a lot of times I'm wrestling with that. So maybe that was the old elevator technician, the old version of Jose Betancourt talking to the new version of Jose Betancourt, which is the Jose Betancourt that's talking to you right now. And maybe we were talking amongst each other and trying to figure out a way to live, both versions to live together and come up with a plan to tackle the new challenges ahead and to beat those challenges and succeed in our new ventures. So I wanted to bring that up to you guys, and hopefully I'm going to post this on the Facebook group that I'm in about traumatic brain injury. And I hope that those of you who take the time to listen to this episode will share your dreams. And if you've had a similar dream, I would love to hear about it. So please share it in the comments section. So I am Jose Betancourt. I will talk to you later. Bye.